All right, hey everyone, let's do this. All right, Mark here. Welcome to my Friday stream. If you're new to the stream, let me explain to you what we're going to do here real quick. All right, so hey, let me see my good Dejan. How are you? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Let me explain what we're going to do here real quick. So we're going to pull up my prop firm account. Okay, I have an Apex eval account, and we're going to use the Trade Scanner Pro to attempt to find day trades so that we could further grow the account. The objective is to reach a $3,000 profit. Okay, right now we're up about $500. I have $2,500 more to go. I came from a minus 800 and something loss, right, from a couple of weeks earlier, made that back. Now I'm up $500. I've been using the Trade Scanner Pro only, and I only trade this account on this stream. I don't trade this account behind the scenes, which means you pretty much see everything that I do. Okay, so this stream is for people. Hey, Sean, good to see you. This stream is for people that use the Trade Scanner Pro, and you can think of it as an instructional stream. Okay, people want a training program. Here's the training program. We're doing this in a real market environment. You're seeing my decision-making process in real time, and you're seeing how the trades play out in real time. I can't fake this. Okay, so hey, Lav, how are you? Yeah, right. Happy Friday. Okay, cool. So let's so first things first, let's songs for you. I'm okay, cool. All right. Great. Thanks for letting us know. Yeah, if you want to share what city or what country you're from, it's always a fun fact. I'm streaming from the greater New York City area, also known as northern New Jersey. All right, now, before we get into the NASDAQ futures, because that's what we're going to be looking at here, the MNQ, just take a quick look at this Bitcoin situation, right? Now, guys, I'm just curious. You guys read my analysis that I publish on Sundays typically, right? I mean, was I right about this or not? I mean, I don't say, hey, Bitcoin was going to break out to 95K. I don't say that because no one knows, and I don't pretend to know that in advance. But I said that we're likely to test that 88K to 90K area. And if we break that area, we're likely to squeeze right into the low 90s. Is that, I mean, do you guys recognize that? I'm just curious, like, because I wonder what people think of my analysis. Hey, all right, hey guys, feel the rush from Netherlands. Oh, cool. I love the music from there. All right, so anyway, yeah. So what a move on Bitcoin. Now look, my illustration wasn't exactly correct here. My what I was anticipating, right? We touched the resistance, but we had not rejected it, and we had not tested the higher low area, right? That was one possibility of many. The other possibility is we test and break. And remember what I said, because of the double bottom situation, there was a greater chance that we can break that resistance. So my argument in that analysis was shorting is a bad idea. You guys remember that? I don't know. So I mean, what do you guys see? I'm not looking for you to guys, oh, you're such a great analyst. But what I want to see is, are you guys gathering that from my analysis? Is it giving you the guidance that would allow you to navigate something like this? Or is it just confusing you? I'd like to know. Anyway, another thing I wanted to point out before we get to the NASDAQ is I have these moving averages, right? That I always take them off from the chart because I don't use them. But I had a stream a while back where I was talking about how they can act as a decent filter for signals. I mean, look at this, right? The green is above the red. There was a long signal there, okay, on this hourly chart. There was no reason to go short, and this pretty much could have kept you out of trouble, right? Look at this. Look at this short signal, right? Short signal over here, but the moving averages were wrong. So that would be a short signal, for example, that you would ignore. That's how the moving averages can help act as a filter. All right. Now, Steen is working on the update to this, and apparently these are built in. This is built in, but I have to test it more because the filtering that he put on there is so tight that there's like no signals. So that's not going to be good for anyone. Anyway, so I just wanted to mention that. All right. So I'm going to turn this off now. Okay, and we're gonna move over to the NASDAQ. All right. By the way, Sean, I got assigned on my Qs yesterday. All right, we're going to MNQ1. I've been long the Qs ever since all that tariff nonsense. Remember all that tariff drama? Remember the Qs went to 400? I was long the entire time. I had 100 shares from an average price. I was accumulating, like I was dollar cost averaging. Went to 399 on me basically. My average price was 464. So I took a little pain on 100 shares. Well, guess what? I was assigned yesterday at 464. I broke even on those shares, but I collected almost $2,000 in premiums the whole time. That's the magic of options. Okay. I broke even on the shares, but almost made 2,000 in selling calls. So it's nice to know how to trade options because I'd be basically making next to nothing on those Qs, right? Or basically made nothing and I had to take all that risk. But instead, I'm able to break even on those Qs on that position. I'm going to do like an upload about it, right? I'm going to detail like all the transactions. And I sold about 4 or 5 calls around 460, 461. Like that was the area. Every time I'd go up there, I would sell. And what would happen is the market would pull back. I'd keep the premium and I'd keep my shares. And yesterday, I sold 464, got assigned. So, and that was my goal. I wanted to get assigned. Um, yeah, so that's just a testament to the value of options. Because if it weren't for being able to sell those calls, that would have been a break-even trade, not an up almost $2,000 trade for the stock barely go the stock breaking even. Right? I was even willing to take a loss on the stock because I was selling calls lower than 464. I was willing to lose $300 on the stock because the options still would have made me nicely profitable anyway, right? But I had the opportunity to sell at break even and I got away with that. So no loss on the stock. All right. Anyway, all right. We're not here to talk about options, but I'm gonna do an upload. I'm not gonna do a stream. I'm gonna do an upload and I'm going to like recap that entire trade, how long it took, what kind of risk I took, and all that kind of stuff. Because I was willing to sit on those queues. I was willing to do it. And that position was over $6,000 against me at its lowest price right? So I went from minus $6,000 to up almost 2,000. I'll take it. The reward risk isn't there, but I'll take it. All right. Now, as you guys know, we're going to look at the NASDAQ futures, the MNQ. They just opened about 15 minutes ago. I know I never get this thing started on time, but the goal here when we're using the Trade Scanner Pro is we first have to get context. So remember, if you're subscribing to the Trade Scanner Pro or you're new to it, you have to do what I'm about to show you first. You cannot use the Trade Scanner Pro on its own by itself because it's not a forecasting tool, as you guys know. It's a confirmation tool. So we must come up with the idea first, and then we confirm it with the Trade Scanner Pro. And it gives us identified risk and it gives us an identified profit objective. But we want to be aligned with the market. We don't want to come up with our own random ideas. We want to be aligned with what the market is doing. Okay? So that is the goal of this. The first step is we want to determine our general trend, right? And the second step is levels. Now, before I get to the trend and levels part, I want to look at my daily time frame, and that's what I have over here. Let me make it bigger. Okay, this is the daily time frame. The daily time frame kind of gives me like a brief overview, but this is not going to carry a lot of weight for my day trades. It's very important to understand that because the momentum on this time frame we can argue is bearish generally because we still have a lower high in this area. It's a lower high relative to this area up here, right? It's changing because we have this higher low, right? This is a good sign. That's bullish, but we are still, we haven't blown through this. We've tried, and theoretically it should, but look at today's candle so far, right? So that, again, that's not going to have a major effect on my day trade decision making, but we need to be aware of that because if this is a general resistance area, a failed high resistance area, and it sticks, that means we're looking at bearish momentum possibly today and next going into next week, right? That's possible. If this candle closes red and we break below the low of this candle next week, that's a bearish signal coming off of a very bearish location, okay? This is a very bearish location. It may be changing because we have the higher low, but the market has to prove that. I don't sit here and forecast it and say, whoa, it's going to do this, because I have no idea what the market's going to do. The market is always smarter than me. Always. I am just a follower. And you must have that mindset. Otherwise, the market will have its way with you. Now, so that's a general resistance. I want to keep that in the back of my mind. The other thing I'm going to take off of this chart is the current high and low of the current candle. This is the current candle low. This is the current candle high. That's going to basically be the overnight high and low. I can also look at yesterday's candle, but the low on yesterday's candle is so far out of play, it's pointless to put on the chart. Yesterday's high is sort of in play, and we actually looks like we rejected that area, right, off of yesterday's high. But I don't want to put too much stuff on the chart because I don't want it to be confusing. So that's all I really need from this chart, right? Now, I'm going to go to the hourly chart. Guys, let me know if you have any questions about this, because this is what I'm doing here is the most important part of this entire stream, the analysis portion. And it's not hard to do. You don't have to have 10 years of experience or 20 years of experience to do this part. You just have to get in the routine of doing this part, and you have to understand what information carries value here. That's not that hard to do because we're only looking at two things. All right, so as you can see, I have my overnight high and my overnight low. That was from the daily time frame that I got there. And now I'm on my hourly time frame. So what can we say about the hourly time frame? Anyone want to chime in and say, like, so what do you think trend is on this time frame? Anyone want to answer that question? And don't feel shy. I'm not going to like make fun of you or anything. If you don't know, you can say, I don't know. I'm here to help you. I'm here to offer you guidance. And in order for you to receive help, you have to participate. You have to be active. You can't just passively watch, because what I say is going to go in one ear and out the other. It's got to be hands-on, right? So what do you guys think? Bullish, bearish, or flat? How would you classify this? I'll wait a few seconds for you guys to give me an answer. Sean says, you have 100 shares? Oh, yeah. Okay, no, Sean, yeah, I had 100 shares that answering the Q's question there. I accumulated 100 shares. I dollar cost averaged from basically 470 all the way to that 434 area. I accumulated 10 shares at a time, which was a little too aggressive. And then once we went below 430, I stopped. And I mean, sure, I could have put on more between 430 and 400, but I'm like, if this thing keeps going, I don't want to keep putting on more and more and more. Okay, because at the time, remember, we were going to zero. So bullish, yes. Okay, good answer. Pull back, but still bullish, yes. Okay, you guys got it. Yes, that's correct, you guys. Dejan says bear. Okay, Dejan, why? Why is this bearish? Are you just saying that to be funny? Because this is bullish, right? We have a low over here, okay? We have a higher low over here. There's nothing bearish about that. What is bearish is, I could see maybe what you're referring to is this. That momentum, that little structure right there, yes, that's bearish, but that's not the trend, okay? The trend is our bigger picture. This is our trend. That's bullish. Not only do we have those higher lows, but we have a higher high. That's bullish. Now, until that structure changes, that tells me that I should expect support levels to generally hold and resistance levels to generally break. That is the mindset that this gives me. So now I have some sort of context. All right, so with that being said, I want to know, well, where are my support and resistance levels? Well, look, I can argue back here, this old resistance is going to be a support, right? We have this overnight low right here, which was basically gathered from the daily time frame. Then I have a minor support on this hourly chart. I mean, basically, what am I doing? I'm noting the consolidations, right? Then we have the overnight high. Those are my levels. That's it. Okay. So I have a couple of support levels. I have a couple of resistance levels. You don't have to put 20 levels on your chart. Even this, the lower support level is not even in play. It's far away. Okay. So I really don't need to draw that. Less is more. So the less stuff on your chart, the better, right? People think the opposite, but no, that leads to confusion. Now, with all that being said, I should be expecting my support level here to hold unless it proves otherwise. If it breaks, then I adjust. But right now, it's reasonable to anticipate that it holds. So putting all this together, what does that mean for the Trade Scanner Pro? Should I be looking for longs or should I be looking for shorts? Based on everything I just said, what do you guys think? I'm not going to tell you the answer. I want to hear the answer from you. Okay. So what do you guys think? While you guys are thinking, let me look at my let's see how my numbers are today. Oh, I got 10 people on YouTube. That's more than usual. But Twitter's kind of low today. All right, so I'm not that depressed. It's still depressing, but it's a little better. Looking for longs. Yes, that's correct. Looking for longs. So you have your answer for the Trade Scanner Pro. We want long confirmations, right? When we go to our smaller time frame. Now, one thing I want to note too, I want to put this in the back of my head. Current candle is a bearish pin bar. I want to keep that in mind. Now, it hasn't closed yet. Actually, we're going to close right now. This is the hourly. Yeah, this candle's going to close now, okay, in the next minute. So it's closing as a bearish pin bar. Not a good, there must be news. Not a good look. Okay, bearish pin bar. Now, it doesn't mean we start getting short. Just it's not a good look for long. It's just you have to keep it in mind. If we break that pin bar low, that's a bearish signal on this time frame. And speaking of bearish signals, let me turn on the Trade Scanner Pro on this time frame. And when you subscribe to the Trade Scanner Pro, you have to make sure that you turn these boxes. You have to click on these. You have to turn these on so that you get the information from the script on your chart. Okay, look, and it even gave a heads up. That pin bar was a heads up to go long on the hourly chart. Interesting. Yeah, Lav, slightly. We can argue slightly, but my Twitter is kind of low. Twitter, I usually have like 20 or 30 people. I have like how many? How many people on Twitter? 20 people. All right. I guess I'll be happy with it. What am I going to do? It's Friday. Okay, so let's now go to our 1 minute time frame. Okay, we're going to go to our 1 minute because this is where we're looking for action. And I'm going to switch this hourly. All right, this is good price action, this bullish thing going on here. I guess there's news. Maybe there was 10 o'clock news. I don't know. But this spike started at 10 o'clock, which 10 o'clock is typically a movement time. A lot of times news comes out at that time, and it can be a catalyst of some kind. So you always want to be aware. Also, 10 o'clock is the close of the first 30-minute candle, which is your opening range, right? And that can be that can give you some levels as well. And if you notice, right, this pin bar on the hourly, that's actually not our opening range. The 30-minute, if I go to the 30-minute time frame, this is our opening range, okay? This 10 o'clock close, this candle right here, that red candle. So, look, and there's a signal in there on the hourly. I'm not taking that, or on the 30-minute. Okay, we're not here to take 30-minute signals, but that's interesting that there's one there. All right, so we're going to switch this chart to a 30-second chart because that's what we're interested in, right? Now, I like to monitor 2 time frames because it gives us more perspective. We may get signals on the 30-second. We may not get signals on the 1 minute. Obviously, we're going to get more frequent signals on the 30-second because it's a smaller time frame. I won't go lower than that because 15 seconds is too low and it's too erratic. There's too much noise, right? Now, look at these trades. There were some trades back here on the long side, and it looks like they got stopped out. So what is that? Minus 35 points. How about this one? Minus 39 points. I mean, that sucks, man. But that happens, and you have to be prepared for like a couple of losing trades. Both of them failed. Okay, but another thing to note about those is the risk. Right, 39 points on a 30-second chart. That's about right. Okay, that's about normal. How about my 1 minute? this was also stopped out for 36 points on a 1 minute chart. That's great. Okay, so I'm going to switch this to 2 contracts because I think that's decent. I don't want to overdo it. Like, again, when you play with these prop accounts, it's really they want you to throw around size, because if you're wrong, you lose a lot of money, and that's what they want, right? They want you to blow the account. It's tempting to put on 5 micro lots or whatever, and I would make much more progress a lot faster. But the thing is, I'm looking to prove this in a sustainable way. Sure, I could put on 10 mini lots. All I have to do is make 15 points and I've beat the eval, okay, in one trade. I don't want to do that because it's not sustainable. If I get to the payout phase, I can't do that. So why should I do that here? Now you could say, well, you could do it here, get to the payout phase, and then get conservative. Yeah, you could do that. But the thing is, you need to be well versed in that sustainable strategy. So I'd rather beat the eval with the sustainable strategy. And of course, the prop firm will appreciate that, because it means I'm going to have to pay them monthly subscriptions, because it's going to take probably a month or something like that to beat the eval. So they're cool with that too. All right. So anyway, so that's that. So we have our evaluation, right? We know which way we want to go. I want to make sure that I'm watching the trend status, right? It says trend is bullish or trend is bearish. You got to pay very close attention to that with your Trade Scanner Pro, because we are looking for longs. And on very small time frames, that trend status changes a lot. It may flip to bearish. If it flips to bearish, it's going to be looking for short signals on this time frame. I'm not interested in shorts. I'm interested in longs. So if it flips, I have to switch to counter trend mode. Right? You guys understand that? If you guys don't understand that, please, I know many of you have seen it, so many of you probably get it. But if you don't understand that, tell me right now. Just be like, listen, I'm confused. What does that mean? Because that's a very important part. The Trade Scanner Pro has that counter trend functionality, which if used incorrectly will only cause you losing trades, right? You don't want that, because counter trend to begin with is lower probability. But if we're aligning with the bigger picture structure, then it's not really counter trend, is it? We're just trying to align with the bigger picture momentum, while the smaller picture momentum is not aligned with it. We're aligning with it. That's the whole point of counter trend. That's one of its uses. The other use is if you want to take aggressive trades at support or resistance levels. But that's more advanced. It's also a lower probability type of strategy, and I try to avoid that. I really don't want to do that. And I'm trying to avoid that altogether on these streams, because if you notice, the streams where I really get beat up is when I take those counter trend support or resistance level trades, because the market just continues going the wrong way. It keeps going its way, and I keep taking the wrong side, right? Because I'm looking for the reversal, and there's no reversal. So you don't want to get yourself into that type of trouble. When it works, right? It works nicely, but it's lower probability, and I want to stay aligned with the probabilities rather than gamble. So that's why I'm pretty much trying to stay with the momentum here. So let's see what we get. Now, the other day, what was it? I think was it on Monday? I think it was Monday. May have been Monday. I sat here for an hour and I talked because there were no signals. And then, like I said, minute 61, a signal shows up, and it was a stop out. And then the market was nice enough to give me one more signal, and I was able to basically break even. Right, I got away with a minus $26 day, which was great, right? Because then on Wednesday I made $300. So if I have to sit here for an hour and stare at these charts because there's no signals, then there's no signals. Don't force it. One thing I could do, I can go to a 15-second chart. I bet you there's a signal there. Let's take a look. But I'm not taking 15-second signals. Look, even then, there's this one. Look at it. There was this. That was a 10 o'clock number right there. But since then, there's nothing, right? So the problem with very small time frames is they're very erratic and they're highly random. So you don't want to force anything. Now, remember, we said that we're in a bullish trend. So this resistance is likely to break. This is where people may be tempted to go short. they'll look at this over here and they'll be like, oh, it's a short. Highly likely to break. Shorting this is a low probability. Why do I want to take low probability trades? Do I look like a gambler to you? Some people may say yes, but I'm not really a gambler. Okay. So, yeah, I want probabilities on my side. This is likely to break. Then you may ask, well, why not take it long then? Take the breakout. There's no signal there. The Trade Scanner Pro is not a breakout system. It's not a breakout strategy. It's a pullback strategy. So in order for me to go long, it has to pull back. The market has to pull back. This is not a pullback. So essentially, the Trade Scanner Pro keeps you out of a lot of trouble. Otherwise, if you're bored, and this is a very common problem, especially with beginners, you start making things up. You're like, oh, yeah, oh, it's bearish. I'm shorting this thing. Yeah, I'm going to make a few points here. And you're just asking for trouble. The same people that shorted this, right? Oh, yeah, lower high, it's bearish, blah, blah, blah. They get squeezed. Okay, and then they're probably shorting it again. Okay, this time it's going to work. The short's going to work this time, people. And you're fighting the momentum. See what I mean? See what I mean? That's not a short. Something that's weak does not behave like that. So, not a short. Don't be confused by this. People get confused by what they see on their smaller time frame. The bigger picture carries all the weight. And we've determined that the bigger picture is bullish, not bearish, right? So don't be confused by smaller time frame price structures or price patterns. Does that make sense? Look at this thing, man, pushing highs. Pushing highs and I'm not in it. What kind of nonsense is that? I just have to wait. Okay? Patience is a big part of this game. So again, my goal is to get to that $3,000 profit objective. And if we have a zero trade day, hey, that's the market, man. Don't force it. You realize I trade this account every other day. I don't even trade this account every day. And that we still have to make $3,000 or $2,500 more. Okay. So we want to treat this. I'm treating this account with respect, even though it's an eval account. There's plenty of opportunity to gamble here. Like I said, I could just throw on 10 lots right now. And if this thing runs 15 points, I'm done. But I'm not going to get anywhere in the payout phase. What'll happen is if I do that again, I'll blow the account most likely and I have to start over again. So a quick question for you guys. Any of you guys use prop firms right now? Any of you guys trade through prop firms? Because this stream is really geared toward the prop firm trader. You could still follow along if you trade a real account, but prop firms, in my opinion, are a great way to acquire training and experience without having to risk tons of your own money. Because, this prop firm account here is a $2,500 account or a $50,000 account. Say it's $2,500 of actual, that's how we have to treat it. Now, it gives me more benefits than if I put a real $2,500 into a real account. The prop account gives me some more benefits in terms of leverage, in terms of other things too. And if I'm wrong or I blow the account, I'm blowing the fee, right? And the fee can be $30, the fee can be $50, whatever it is. I'd rather blow $50 on mistakes rather than $2,500. And one of the great benefits to prop firms is you can trade size with full confidence. Like I could throw 10 lots on right now and I can gamble. And if I'm wrong and I lose, I blow the account in one trade, I'm blowing $30, not $2,500, right? So I can trade size with confidence. Beginners may not be able to appreciate that because, back in the day when I started with futures, for one, there were no micro lots back then. There was no micro futures back then. The only choice you had was the mini lots. And as you know, mini lots are big. They're 10 times the size and they're wild. And there were also no prop firms. So you had to put real money into an account and you had to play that way, right? If you wanted to have skin in the game. Otherwise, you had to paper trade. I would paper trade for a long time. Like I'd go months and months and months paper trade right? And then when I felt confident enough, I put money in a real account, throw around a mini lot, blow that account, and then go back and paper trade again. It sucked, man. And also on top of that, never had confidence to trade size. You always had to trade a mini lot, or when micro lots came out, a micro lot. And just throw around pennies, make pennies here and there, because you still the confidence, if your system isn't there, your confidence isn't there, you can't throw around size. I mean, you can, but you blow your account, it's really going to affect your psychological currency, right? Your psychological, what do you call it? Like your psychological money. There's a name for it. I can't think of it right now. But you have money in your account, and then you have psychological money. Okay, real account, and only trade Bitcoin. Ah, okay. Well, I was doing that. Feel the rush, and I actually I put some money at MEXC to demonstrate this with MEXC. But then, I came across all this prop firm stuff, and I thought, wouldn't it be better, instead of throwing around, a $500 or $1,000 account with Bitcoin and making, $50 here or whatever, why not go for a prop account where I could make hundreds of dollars, right? Beat the prop account and then get payouts on this money. I think that'd just be a lot more practical for people, and more there's a greater incentive there, in my opinion. Because instead of, again, throwing around making $25, $50 here and there, I could make $300 here in a few minutes, and then call it a day, and then get a payout on it. Request a payout, and that's real money. They don't pay out monopoly money. So I thought this model would be more attractive for people, and based on my numbers here, it doesn't seem to matter. Let's see, how am I doing now? I got 5 more people on Twitter. All right, it's Friday. Yeah. So now, usually, Feel the Rush. I mean, there's a whole prop firm world out there, and there's a whole community of streamers, and they're doing exactly what I'm doing. In fact, what I'm doing here is nothing original. I'm copying them, and they stream every day, though, and they stream all day. I'm not doing that. It's just not practical for me. So I figure I'll just stream the Open 3 days a week and see how that goes. But the thing is, I'm trying to appeal more to that crowd, because it's a bigger crowd, and also it makes sense because the prop firm proposition is very compelling. I researched it for a while. It wasn't like I just came up with it. The other thing is, many of these guys are affiliates, so they're going to say, "Oh, open an account over this one, over that one." You should research the prop firms. There's quite a few of them. I'm not an affiliate, but I would like to be. Okay, but I've noticed many of all of the prop firms. I went to a few of them looking to apply for their affiliate program. They closed their affiliate programs. Okay, 3 of them that I looked at, or some of the more popular ones, like this one that I'm using, they closed their affiliate program. I don't know exactly why. I thought it had something to do with their lawsuit. They have a lawsuit going on. But I noticed other prop firms also closed their affiliate programs. So, okay. There must be something going on in the prop firm world, because they don't want any more affiliates. At least the ones I looked at. Don't have the time to trade all day. Okay. Well, you know what? Feel the Rush. This is not something you have to trade all day, but it does require that you trade during a time where momentum is present, right? That's what, we're looking at day trades on 1 minute and 30-second time frames. You need momentum. And the greatest time for momentum is the market open, of course, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. We may have a signal coming up here. There's no heads up, though. Also, the market close, like 2:30 p.m. Eastern time to 4. If you could trade sometime in those time slots, that's better. Yes. Well, swing. There's nothing wrong with that, and it does require more patience. It's in my opinion, it's an easier game, because you spend most of the time waiting around for signals and setups. Where here, you get them much more frequently. The thing is, here, things change a lot, and they change quickly. So it's very easy to lose money on these time frames, right? Your risk is theoretically smaller, but if you run into those problems like overtrade, you can lose a lot of money, of course. I'm sure some of you know that. Okay. But anyway, yeah. So the prop firm, the thing is, when it comes to swing trades, there are only a couple of prop firms out there that will let you do that. Most of them don't want you to do it because it's easier to make money. They don't want us to make money. They especially don't want us to make money. They bet on us losing. Remember, prop firms, they have a sensible value proposition, but it comes with some costs. And part of it is they're betting against us. And that's how they make money, a lot of money. It's a really good bet to bet against the retail trader. And I mean, you look at some of these numbers in these court documents when they get sued because all this stuff becomes public. Man, some of these guys are making 10 million a month, and that's a slow month. 10 million in net revenue. It's ridiculous, right? That's just goes to show it's better to bet against the retail trader. They say, oh no, we want you to make money so we can have a profit split. That's a bunch of nonsense, man. They want you to fail the eval. That is where they make their money. So and no matter what prop firm, they all come out and they all say, we're your best friend, join our family, blah, 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 blah. Okay. You have to know the game. You have to know what you're getting into. So for someone that knows what they're doing, they have it's a very plausible value proposition. But for someone who's a beginner with no experience, you're just going to get fleeced. And, and that's part of the learning process too, getting fleeced. And if you're going to get fleeced, you might as well do it with a prop firm because it's a lot cheaper than getting fleeced with your real money. Okay. I'd rather lose $50 than $2,500. Making stupid mistakes. I'd rather do it that way. And you do it a few times, like, all right, this isn't working, and then you're out, a couple of $100 rather than 10,000. That's a great advantage to prop firms. That yes, and they're going to make money off of that, but it is a good training process because you can trade size with confidence. And if you're right, even if you're right randomly, it is possible for you to collect a decent payout. Whereas when you're learning with your own money or you're on a practice account, there's no payout. There's only losing, pretty much, right? And if you flip a coin and it happens to work out, you're most likely going to give that back anyway. Okay, and you're never going to be able to trade size because you're wrong one time, there goes your account. Here, you could just pay another eval for $50 or $30 or whatever. We may get a signal here. We got the heads up. See that? This candle close may be the signal. I'll take that long if we get it. I'll tell you why in a second, why I'm very compelled by it. Let's see if we get the signal. Ooh, look at that. I'm tempted to put on 3 lots, 3 micros, but you know what? It's Friday. I'm going to stick to 2. Because if I'm wrong, I'm really going to be not happy about using three micro lots. Maybe if I build more money into the account, like if I'm up 1,000 or 1,500, then I'll be more comfortable sizing up a little bit more, putting on another micro lot. Sizing up, it's not really that big. We got our heads up, waiting for that signal. So interesting. If we don't get the signal, again, the Trade Scanner Pro just saved us from getting long too early. It's giving us the pullback, but look, no signal. Okay, no problem. No trade. 0 is better than losing. Ooh, look at that. Is there news? Look at that. Now our 1 minute is starting to perk up over here. Look at this. Getting the heads up on the 1 minute. See? You simply have to wait. Right? And if you're getting all anxious before, you get caught in this. You could have also argued, that short worked out. Well, again, look, you can't play both sides effectively. You got to pick a side. And if the market changes its tune, you're going to see something like this. And then we have to adjust. But usually if the market is changing, like if the market is changing here and the structure is changing, there's going to be a significant move. And that initial move has to happen. And most likely we're going to miss it. Okay. Trying to time that initial move, it looks great after the fact. But the thing is, the problem with trying to time that is, do you know how many times I've tried, like, failed high, double top, blah, 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 blah. And I short this and then this does not happen, instead, you know what happens, right? You short something that's strong, and because you see some sort of pattern, this is what happens. Okay, that like a day like yesterday, where there was like a slow grind bullish the whole day. That happens because people keep shorting the top and they keep getting squeezed. So you have to just respect the market. If it's going to change, let it change, and then we'll catch the follow up to that. That's it. Don't be anxious where you're like, oh, I missed this. Oh, I missed that. The market can drive you crazy with that sort of thing, right? So we got to stick to our side until the market proves otherwise. This is not proof. It could be the beginning of proof, but it's just not proof. What would be proof? Well, we need to start breaking supports, right? Supports on a 30-second chart. While that is something to, just maybe observe, 30-second supports are not significant supports. Okay. So I'm not really going to go, even a 1 minute is kind of like, doesn't carry a lot of weight, right? So really our support level that we're going to use is that. We break that, then I will say, okay, the market is transitioning. And you may say, oh, but the market's just moved, 100 points, whatever. Yeah, 120 points. We missed that whole thing. Yes, but that's what you're going to miss stuff. The market's transitioning. Stand aside. Let it do its thing. Let all the other beginners get caught up in this mess. Because now this is going to suck in a lot of shorts. The general structure hasn't changed yet. Okay. And you're going to have all these shorts. Okay, it's bear now. It's a bear. It's short. And they're going to get squeezed. Chances are they're going to get squeezed. They don't know that yet because they're all focused in on this, right? You cannot react to what you see. That's human nature. We react to what we see. We have to keep the bigger picture in mind. The bigger picture is what carries all the weight. Trust me, I've made all the mistakes, man. I've made all the mistakes that you make. I've made them many times. And I've spent a lot of time and a lot of money. Why do you think I have no hair? No, I think it's genetic. Anyway, so let's see here. Let's see if now in this situation like this, how are we doing with time? Oh, man. All right. So I'll stream for 15 more minutes. Man, no signals, huh? Okay. Look, I'll take a 0 signal day. I'll take that. I'll take that better than a negative day. I'll take a zero signal day. No problem. Now, in a situation like this, right? When you get these type of pullbacks, what I look for here, especially in a market that's generally bullish and hasn't changed yet, this is where you want to see the failed low, especially if we're near the support. That's where you want to see a failed low. Okay, that's a very high probability long pattern, bullish pattern if we get it, and it may be developing here. Because to get a failed low, you have to basically get a double bottom. It just goes a little further, and if we get that here, okay, double bottom situation right here, and it goes a little further, it coincides with this low over here. So it's like a compound double bottom. It's two double bottoms, right? You'd have the double bottom, the little mini double bottom, and then you'd also have this one at the same time. That's pretty compelling, right? I like to see those if we get that. The market may not deliver that either, but see what I mean? If we could get a signal here, I'll be very I'll be on that. I'll be in that if we get a signal. Now, what I don't like about this is we have no heads up. Where's the heads up? Like this is compelling, but no heads up. Do you avoid trades when the trend is conflicting between time frames? That's a good question. I don't know. I don't avoid trades as long as my analysis from the beginning hasn't changed yet. Okay. If we're in a transition, I mean, the thing is, look, in my mind right now, like you guys may be thinking, oh, this thing's a short. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm still looking long. This is still a long. Nothing has really changed here. All we have is a little pullback. This is a little mini pullback. It looks big because we're on a 30-second chart, but this is nothing. This is noise. Okay. This is 120 points on the NASDAQ. That's not a lot. So I'm still bullish. This isn't really a change yet. Now, when I start to avoid, when I start to do that is when we break a support, because we should not, remember we said earlier, trend is bullish. Supports should hold, right now, my main support on this chart is this line over here, this bottom line, right? That we got from the overnight low. We should not break that. We should find support above that somewhere. That support may come in the form of a double bottom, a failed low, something like this, a signal, like a signal around here. I'd be very interested in longs. But if we break below this line and we break in a very compelling way, like it's a pretty sharp break, then I'll stand aside. Does that make sense? So the general structure has to change, and then I'll stand aside. Now, notice something, guys. What happened to my trend status? Turned bearish, right? Got to switch to counter trend mode if I want longs. Otherwise, I'm not going to get longs. I'm going to get shorts on this time frame. You see how I just switched to counter trend mode? You guys see that? There's my signal. Okay, let's see what this candle looks like here before I jump in. Okay, I'm in. I just bought 2 micro lots. Okay, now I just bought it on the 30-second signal. Let's see what we can do with this. How are we doing? What's the risk here? 43 points. All right. That's doable for 2 micro lots. My profit objective is 65 points. All right, that's 1.5 to 1. Now, again, look what we have here. Just Trade Scanner Pro aside, this is a failed low. It's near a support. Look at my 1 minute. Failed low, compound double bottom, right? Actually, it's a triple bottom. Look at this. If I draw this line over here, that's a triple bottom. Okay? If that sticks, we should have no problem getting to the profit objective. Okay? So I have a lot of supportive structure there. People don't see that. They overlook it. Instead, they have their RSI. Oh, my RSI. RSI. But they overlook the structure. The structure is what gives me the confidence. I see that. We should have no problem getting to the profit objective. I could be wrong, but probability-wise, with all that in place, coming off of a support in a general strong market, generally strong, we should have no problem getting up to this midpoint area. That should be pretty easy for the NASDAQ. That shouldn't require much effort. So it gives me a little more confidence, a little more staying power. Like I'll give some red candles a chance, like this one right here. Okay, that's pin bar. I don't like that. But like I just finished saying, I'm going to give this broader structure a chance here. If I get stopped out, I get stopped out. But I know generally those structures are generally good. So let's see how it goes. Again, when you're in the trade, right, it's now up to the market. And you're really out of the picture now. So my job now is to just respect the stop. My trailing stop has perked up a bit there. I'm preparing to bang this out. Looks like another signal is trying to develop. It's a good sign. Now, if we go back above this blue line, that's usually a justification to add more. I'm not going to add more. But if I was going to be more aggressive, you can add another contract. Because it's giving you another buy signal, basically. So now what we have is, look, another failed low. If that closes like this, it closed. Okay, so we have another failed low. Failed low, failed low. All right, where are my buyers, man? Are there common structures you look for? Or can I just think of something like price held? No, that's a good question. I talk about this all the time. Double bottom, failed low. I look for those all the time. That's a primary structure that I look for. Okay, so basically it's a double bottom. I call it a failed low. Just goes a little further. It goes a little bit lower and then it fails. It reverses, right? So it's a double bottom if you want to keep it simple. But that's all. I'm looking for double bottoms, double tops, and higher lows on bigger picture stuff. Higher lows can be, or higher lows or lower highs can also be a structure I look for. But that's it. I don't look for anything else. Okay. And then, so I'm using price structures like that. I'm using the candlesticks, right? Pin bars. inside bars. I'm using those as reference points of reference. And of course, the trend structure, right? Are we getting higher lows and higher highs? And I'm looking at multiple time frames. Remember, we started with the hourly chart. Okay, hopefully this one goes my way without going back to that stop, please. Can we go to the profit objective, Mr. Market? I would appreciate that. Instead of making me look bad here like you like to do. All right, so let's see. I'm getting excited. It's Friday. All right. So let's see if we can get this momentum to continue. The failed lows, man. Like I said, it gives me the patience to stick it through these red candles. Or otherwise, if those structures were not there, I would be more apt to bang those out. To be like, I don't like those red structures. I'm getting out. You know what I mean? So it gives you the confidence to give the market a chance. Look, it went against me a little bit, but my stop is in place, right? My stop is there, my reference point. You should always put the hard stop in the market. If some news comes out right now, this thing could spike to the stop, and I'm going to get hammered because I'm doing it manually. You should put the hard order in. I got to talk to Stian about that to see if he can automatically populate the trade window like that. If you can automatically populate it with the Trade Scanner Pro numbers so that you don't have to do it yourself. That would be a really cool update. Any other questions, you guys? So this is a nice trade. I'll take it. Let's go to that profit objective, people. Let's go there, as Jerry Seinfeld would say. All right. If we get like ugly here. Now notice I'm getting red. You see that red? You see that red? The reason why we're getting that red column is because I'm in counter trend mode, and the trend on this time frame has turned back to bullish. So it's looking for shorts right now. That's what the Trade Scanner Pro is doing. Now, I don't expect you to know that because you don't know the inner workings of the Trade Scanner Pro, but you need to realize that this red column means it's looking for a short signal. Does that mean that the short signal carries any weight? No, it doesn't. Because we've determined that. Remember, the Trade Scanner Pro doesn't know more than you. You know more than it. It just confirms something to make your job a little easier, to just reduce your analysis burden. That's really all it does. It's not smart, okay? You're the one that has to be smart. So it just says, momentum's changing here, looking for short signals, but that doesn't mean that the short signal carries any weight. Our analysis carries the weight. We're still looking for longs. This market hasn't broken support. What's happening here is it sucked in all the reactive traders who it's a bear. Hey, my RSI says it's a short. Sucks them in, and now now they lose their money. Because all the buyers that were sitting there waiting to buy this thing, they jump in once it stops going lower, and now these shorts have to cover. This is what happens. Now you have an imbalance of buying activity. But the imbalance of buying was there all along. Okay, I don't like this candle. If this candle gives me a hard time, you know what time it is. I'll get out early. I don't care. I want to take the profit. Okay, that's green. All right. It's bangy time. I will bang this thing out. I don't care. Because, if we don't get to the profit objective, I just want to come out green. Okay, there we go. All right. Keep it going. Keep it going. It can hear me. It can hear me. It's like, no, we're not going to keep it going because you just asked to keep it going. You have to be really quiet around this thing. It's spying on me like Alexa. All right. Preparing to bang. I want to see some green candles here, people. I want to see green candles. If I'm not seeing green candles, I'm just going to take, I want to keep my money, man. Look at that. Like it knows the profit objective is up there. We can't make him look good. We can't make him look good. Turn this thing around. And then the other guys, it's not like it matters. He doesn't have a following anyway. It's not like anyone watches these streams. He only has a couple of people. Don't worry about it. No, I appreciate you guys, man. I appreciate the guys that take the time who come watch this, There's a lot of value here, man. I mean, I'm showing you winning trades consistently. So you see how it's done. Look at the trailing stop. Ooh, come on, man. A green candle like that, this thing should be doing better. I'm prepared. I'm going to bang both of them out. I'm telling you right now. If this thing can't keep its act together, I'm out. I'm prepared to press that button. Do you see how much patience you have to have with this? This price action is really annoying. Okay, this candle should just be spiking, and there we go, like that. Again, we're like there, and it's like, oh, we got to go red. I know, I gotta keep this entertaining. All right, now what I want to point out here is my trailing stop is almost at break even. You see this? So the risk on this trade has been reduced. We went from 45 points of risk to basically what is this? 0. Now 0 points of risk. 45 points of risk to 0. All right, we're there. I'm all right. I'm gonna do here. So since I'm trying to, I want to try to be a little aggressive here. I'm gonna sell one. Goodbye. Banged out a one above the profit objective. I'll take it. 19,327. Okay. Now let's let the winner run, as Seinfeld would say. Let it run, George. I'm making money, and I don't even know how. From Texas. You're from Texas? Oh, great. I would call you by your name, but I can't read that writing. I don't know what that writing is. How would you say that in English? I would gather you're not originally from Texas. I love Texas. I've been to Dallas, Fort Worth. I loved it there. Everything was big and clean. The only thing that could have been a little bit better was the food. Like you guys in Texas, at least in the Dallas area, you guys don't know what good food is. Hold on a second. All right, sorry about that, you guys. Had some business I had to take care of over here. All right, cool. Each stream. All right, cool, cool, Lav. Good to hear. So look at this move. Wow. How much is this here? Let's see. Look at my trailing stop. So right now, 106 points. Not bad, right? A good thing I let the runner run, right? That's $200 on one contract. So I took my one off at the profit objective. Now I may just take the money here, man. I may not let this thing, because that's a pretty decent profit. Yeah, you know what? Goodbye. Out. Where's my order? I'm not out yet. Am I out? I never saw the order pop. There it is. Wait, let me make sure I'm not short. Okay, am I out? I'm out. Okay, so let's take a look here. 273. Not bad. Not bad. Oh, they always shake me out like that. But you know what? Like I said, I'll take it. I'm not going to mess with this. Okay. I had an opportunity to get a little bit more of a runner. So let's look at the reward risk. So again, remember, this trade was 45 points, 43 points of risk. Okay. 43 points of risk. The risk went to 0 because the trailing stop reduced it to 0. Now look, my trailing stop is basically at the profit objective. I locked in my 1.5 to 1 was 66 points on one contract, right? That's like $120 or whatever. And then my second one, because I blew it out up here, was like 94 points or something. It was up in this area. I closed it. Let's just say 90 points. Okay. That's 30 more points than my profit objective. So I risked 40 or whatever to make 9. That's 2 to 1, isn't it? So I captured 1.5 to 1 and I captured 2 to 1. Now, this thing may continue higher. This thing may pull back. Who knows? I don't care. I'm done. Right? So you saw how this one worked out. And remember, we had to go into counter trend mode. Notice that I'm getting all these red things. So my trend status, right? It's back to green. So the thing is, if I turn counter trend mode off, this trade will vanish from the chart. So you don't be confused by those red lines. It's a Japanese character. It doesn't mean anything though. You can just call me A. Okay. Oh, Austin. Okay. Um, yeah, I was in Dallas. Let's see. Oh, that was a long time ago. Probably more than 10 years ago. I was there for business actually. I was working for a company called Forex Club, and um, there was a convention there, money show. I think it was called Money Show or whatever they call it. I forget what they call it. It was Traders Expo, and so I was there for this convention, and I was doing like a presentation there, on behalf of the company. But then thing is, I knew some clients. I had some clients there. So after the expo was over, I got to spend some time with these clients that I knew, and so they showed me around Dallas a bit, the Fort Worth area, and I loved it there. It's real nice, definitely. But it's not my type of the weather's great and everything, but I'm more of a Miami guy, man. I like the I like the humidity. I like the palm trees. I like the naked women. You know how that is. So, I mean, I'm sure Texas has naked women too, but the weather, you have more of that dry heat. It still is beautiful. I mean, if I was going to pick one over the other, I would pick Miami, but Texas was definitely be my number two. I've never been to Austin though. I hear Joe Rogan hangs around there and a few other people. So yeah, I followed it on Bitcoin since the structure looks good. Okay, cool. Oh, so you took a Bitcoin trade at the same time? That's cool. Well, usually these two markets are um, there's usually a what do you call it when they're lined up together? There's a uh, there's a relationship. Okay, usually there's a relationship between the two. Now this thing is still open, as you can see, and look at my trailing stop. Look at this thing. All right, hold on a second. All right, man, I got out too early, huh? My trailing stop is now at my profit objective. So, again, all right, so just to kind of recap this real quick. High correlation, that's the word I'm looking for, A. Correlation. That's the word. Yes, there's a correlation. But you want to know something? That correlation isn't always the correlation changes. It changes over time. I've noticed. But when it's there, it's there. And you play it when it's there. So anyway, just to kind of recap this trade here. So you guys saw first, we conducted our analysis, right? We said, okay, our trend is this, and then we're going to expect this from support and resistance levels. What happened? We sold off, okay? And we went to a support. I told you guys, we expect supports to hold. We got signals. Now, at that time, my trend status turned bearish. I switched to counter trend mode because I'm looking for longs. Remember, my analysis is what carries all the weight, not the Trade Scanner Pro. So if I want longs, I have to align this thing to look for longs. So I went into counter trend mode because my momentum on this time frame is bearish. And to get longs, I need to be in counter trend. Well, I got a long. Okay. In fact, I got long. Was it back here where I took the long? No. What is this trade over here? I don't know why that's there. Oh, no, that's counter trend. Okay, that wasn't there at the time because my counter trend mode on wasn't on at the time. This is why I missed that. Okay, cool. So we got closer to the level. I turned counter trend mode on, and we got the signal here. Now, remember what I said too, that the price structures gave me a lot of confidence. So let's just go to our 1 minute chart here, right? Look where that signal occurred here. And what was developing there too. Look at this and look at this. Okay? And look at this over here too. So these are all reversal structures in a common area. This, especially this, you have a failed low on top of a failed low, which is a double bottom together. This whole thing is a double bottom. So when I see all that together like that, it's like, okay, I'm going to be confident with this. That's the type of situation where if you're really aggressive, you throw on size. Like you take bigger risk, basically. Now I was, again, today's Friday. I don't want to do anything stupid and then like blow the account or get too big because I think I'm big and bad and then watch my profit melt away. So I respect the market. I kept my size the same, right? 2 micro lots. It's decent. I could have put on a third. Remember I said I should put on 3. But if I lose, I'm going to be very unhappy with that. Okay. So we got our momentum. This trade is still open, by the way. So again, the Trade Scanner Pro really offers excellent guidance in these situations. I got out early because I'm like, I'm going to take my money. But theoretically, I should still be in this because we never went to the trailing stop. In this market, it looks like we're getting the grind. Okay, we're getting the grind. And Lav, this is what happens when you keep shorting things like this. Remember the other day, you're like shorting it? This is what happens. You react, you see things like this, and then you think it's a short, and it's not. It's the bigger structure. And I'm not like yelling at you or anything. I'm just saying it's a very common mistake. And trust me, I've made that mistake many, many, many times. Okay, so I understand the thought process. But this trade is going to stay open until the trailing stop is touched. And at this point, the trailing stop looks like it's delivering just the full profit objective. Understand that the trailing stop is never going to get you out at the top. It's going to get you out it could potentially get you out at a better price than you normally would have gotten if the market just stays in a slow grind and just keeps going higher and higher, right? Sometimes you get those moves where the market just grinds the whole day and never pulls back. That's when the trailing stop is going to deliver a big trade, right? But otherwise, the trailing stop basically, it's never going to get you out at the top because it has to pull back to touch the trailing stop. That's why, like, I knew, let me just take the money. If it gives me a hard time, I'll take the money because capturing 90 points, capturing 100 points, that's a nice trade for the NASDAQ. Okay. If you can get more than 100 points, it's even better. So, but that's the trailing stop gives you choices. You're like, oh, I'll give it a chance. This trade may not touch the trailing stop. It may just continue higher and higher and higher. But you have to be willing to give back to participate in that opportunity if the market wants to pay that. So remember, it's not you asserting yourself on the market. It's the market asserting itself on you. And it tells you what it wants to do. And it's your job to listen. You don't sit there and say, I want to make more money, so I'm going to hold on to it. You don't do that. It's the market decides if it wants to pay you more or not. And you have to decide if you want to risk giving back profits to potentially make more. That's it. If you struggle with greed, you're going to have a hard time with that because you're never going to get the most. The trade, I got out, this thing may run another 100 points or whatever. Hey, that's it, man. I don't know. The market's mostly random. I'm just looking for high probability inflection points so I could get something out of the market, keep my risk pretty small or reasonable, and I'm done. Right? I don't have to trade anymore. One trade, get it right the first time, you're done. All right, guys. So any questions? Cool. Any questions, you guys? So I hope you got some value from the stream here today. I've been talking a little extra here, but I want you guys, again, these streams are for people who use a Trade Scanner Pro. Okay. Let me see if my numbers have improved a bit. Oh, okay. Twitter's gone up slightly. Okay. What are trade? Oh, well, a they don't. In fact, that Traders Expo doesn't exist anymore. It got bought by an event company called the Money Show. So now it's the Money Show, and they've combined all of their things together. But that used to be the Traders Expo. So it's a convention, right? They usually have a convention hall, and they invite like all these big name fake gurus, not YouTubers though. They have like these other fake gurus who are not really on YouTube, or they're more like your conventional fake gurus, and they have like a convention hall where they all have their setup, and big companies have their setup, like the big forex dealers and all that. They set up these big booths, these big fancy booths, and you go there basically, and they just try to sell you stuff. And then they have all these like free training sessions, and all these people that bought these booths, they basically get to like have like they get on the schedule, and you can go watch them like they do presentations, and it's all there basically. It's just one big gigantic sales pitch is all it is. You could learn some things here and there, and maybe you learn about a new broker or something, but it's just it's like a retail cattle call, and you don't really, they just tell you what you want to hear, and it's just a big retail fiasco. It's cool if you're a presenter, right? And you get to hang out with the other presenters, and maybe there's some cute girls there, but not really. Usually at the Traders Expo, it's usually not female oriented. And if there's like one girl there, she gets a lot of attention because it's like 10 million, like, desperate gambler guys. And that's how it's like. So, you know, there's definitely more fun conventions out there, I believe. Anyway, that's the Traders Expo, the money show. Like you get all these like conventional like traders and investors. They go there. I'm going to learn something about investing. You're not really going to learn anything. You're going to learn what it's like to be sold to, right? You're going to. There's just a lot, and they give you all these bags full of like things and gifts and postcards and all kinds of garbage to take home with you. And they hope you sign up. And they're scanning your tags, like you wear like a tag, and they're scanning it so that they can email you garbage and spam you all day long. Yeah. Well, actually, they're usually free. They're free. The expo itself is free. They make because no one would pay for this. Okay. But what is not free though, they do have like a premium track where you can pay like a couple of $100s and then get a more premium experience where you go to these learning sessions by the fake guru, and they're like, oh, I'm going to teach you some candlestick magic, and you sit there for 2 hours, and they'll charge you like $250 or something like that. I guess it's another way for them to make money, the vendors to make money. So, I mean, you should try it out once just to get the experience, but you're going to come out exhausted and not that much more knowledgeable. I've been to quite a few of them as an attendee and as a presenter. Take Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. From Texas. Yeah. I'm just I just like I just more like you have to like that tropical weather. You just have to like it. Either like it or you don't like it. I don't have hair, so it's easier for me. When you have hair, it's harder, especially women. Like, oh, I can't take that heat. It's so humid, my hair. I don't have that problem. All right, look, this thing just got stopped out at the profit objective. You see that? See how long that trade was? I got out early. I got out at a good price. Okay, guys, so interesting session. All right, so I won't keep you guys. I'm going to wrap this up. So if you have any questions, you know where to find me. You can email me, mark@marketmarkets.com. By the way, people, if you haven't done this yet, just help me out. You can press the like, press subscribe, subscribe to the channel. Here, let me put my little graphic up. Subscribe to the channel, press the notification bell so that whenever I stream, I can have more than 5 people watching me. And I appreciate all of you guys that do spend the time to watch me, but I would like a few more people. It'd be nice. It'd make me feel a little bit better about what I'm doing. So, but anyway, if you have any questions, try the Trade Scanner Pro out. If you haven't, subscribe. You have 14 days. It's free. Make sure you cancel if you don't want it so that you can get billed. Okay, it's very easy to do. And follow my streams. If you're not sure how to use it, you're like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Go back. All my streams are on YouTube. Go back and watch the streams. Yes, they're a little boring, but There's a lot of value here on how to use the Trade Scanner Pro. Like when I switch to counter trend mode, I don't have an instruction manual that's going to teach you that, and you're not going to learn that intuitively. So come rewatch my streams. Okay, rewatch the stream, and you will have a much better idea how to use this thing. I do the same routine every time. You got that? Okay, so check it out, you guys. I hope to see you there, and that's that. So you know my schedule. I'm streaming Monday, Wednesday, Friday at the market open. And then, I have my analysis stream on Monday afternoon. So guys, join me for that. Chime in, participate. It's great to see you. So today's Friday. Enjoy. Take some days off, relax, have some fun. All right. So enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your evening, wherever you are in the world. And thank you very much for watching.